Fascinating Frontiers, episode EHT8, coming to you on June 2nd, 2026. The universe has been busy. Let's get into it. 7 scorching hot Jupiters are showing the strongest signs yet of magnetic fields through their bizarre wind patterns. Astronomers use the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope and Gemini North to track wind speeds across 7 very hot Jupiter-like worlds. Unusual wind patterns point to the presence of magnetic fields, with the data providing the clearest evidence to date for magnetism outside our solar system. The measurements capture how charged particles interact with planetary magnetic environments in extreme conditions. Follow-up observations with additional instruments could map field strengths across more worlds. Now, on a completely different note, astronomers have measured winds on 7 hot Jupiters and found patterns that only strong magnetic fields can explain. The Very Large Telescope and Gemini North captured Doppler shifts in the planet's atmospheres, revealing how charged particles are steered by invisible magnetic structures. These worlds orbit so close to their stars that temperatures exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius, yet the magnetic influence still organizes the flow. The next step is to determine whether similar fields exist on smaller, cooler exoplanets where life might arise. What field strengths would be detectable with the next generation of extremely large telescopes? A single hot Jupiter can lose enough atmospheric gas in a year to equal several Earth oceans if its magnetic field were absent. Picture riding a parcel of gas as it circles the planet. Stellar radiation ionizes the upper layers, and any embedded magnetic field immediately exerts a Lorentz force that redirects the flow into narrow jets or standing waves. On the 7 worlds studied, wind speeds reached several kilometers per second, yet remained organized rather than turbulent, a signature only magnetism can impose at these temperatures. The same process repeats every orbit, so repeated observations over weeks can map how the field strength varies with longitude. Still, no one has measured the actual surface field strength on any exoplanet, leaving open the question of whether these dynamos are generated in metallic hydrogen layers or in thinner ionized shells. Data from an Indian lunar orbiter show signatures consistent with water ice in permanently shadowed regions near the moon's poles. The detection adds to earlier findings from other missions and helps refine target sites for future surface operations. Instruments measured reflected light and thermal properties that distinguish ice from dry regolith. Next steps include higher resolution mapping to confirm extent and accessibility. Researchers are developing an ecology-based approach to assess whether subsurface oceans on Enceladus and Europa could support life without direct sampling. The technique models how chemical energy flows through hypothetical ecosystems beneath the ice shells. New observatories and upcoming spacecraft missions will supply the environmental data needed to run these models. A strongly lensed little red dot at redshift 7.04 yielded a dynamical mass measurement of 50 million solar masses for its central black hole. The rotation curve fits Keplerian motion around a point mass and leaves little room for a surrounding stellar component. This supports the idea that some early massive black holes formed as seeds before their host galaxies fully assembled. Additional lensed systems will be examined to test how common this configuration is. NASA completed inspection of the 2.4-meter infrared primary mirror for the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope. The mirror carries a silver coating just 400 nanometers thick. Completion of this milestone clears the way for integration with the rest of the observatory. Launch is still years away, but the mirror represents a key hardware deliverable now verified for flight. The European Space Agency selected a pair of small satellite missions focused on monitoring environmental changes from orbit. These Scout-class projects will test new measurement techniques that complement larger flagship Earth observation satellites. Data will address gaps in understanding processes that cross national boundaries. Mission development timelines and instrument details will be released as contracts are finalized. A meteor estimated at roughly the mass of an elephant produced a double sonic boom across the region. Seismic and eyewitness reports helped narrow the trajectory and energy release. Fragments may have reached the ground, prompting searches in likely fall zones. Analysis of any recovered material could reveal its origin within the asteroid belt. The latest lunar rover concept resembles a rugged side-by-side vehicle built for long-duration surface traverses. It incorporates features for crew transport, sample collection, and power management in the lunar environment. The design draws on lessons from earlier robotic and human-rated mobility systems. Engineers continue refining the chassis and life support interfaces ahead of Artemis surface operations. Indian researchers are studying cave-dwelling fungi for potential applications in medicine, mining, and life support systems on other worlds. Certain species show tolerance for extreme conditions that mirror aspects of extraterrestrial environments. Laboratory tests explore how these organisms might assist in resource extraction or waste processing. The two nations signed a joint declaration to continue long-standing collaboration on satellite technology and space science. The agreement covers data sharing, capacity building, and joint projects in Earth observation and communications. Existing partnerships have already produced shared satellite imagery and training programs. Future work will focus on new mission concepts and regional applications. Saturn's largest moon appears just northeast of the planet in the early morning sky for the next 2 nights. Observers with small telescopes can watch the changing geometry as Titan orbits. The pairing offers a convenient chance to compare the moon's brightness against background stars. Similar alignments recur regularly and help illustrate the satellite's orbital period. A new view captures how sunlight angles create distinctive shadows across tropical regions at solstice. The geometry highlights the seasonal shift in solar declination that has been tracked since ancient times. The image also demonstrates how orbital perspective reveals patterns invisible from the ground. Similar observations continue throughout the year to document changing illumination. Satellite imagery documents burn damage across roughly 1/3 of the Channel Island following a recent wildfire. The affected zones include grassland, coastal sage scrub, and chaparral communities. Repeated imaging will track vegetation recovery and soil exposure over coming seasons. The company's planned initial public offering has prompted discussion about whether launch operations will remain central after new investors join. Analysts note that Starlink revenue and other lines of business could shift priorities. The outcome will influence how aggressively the firm pursues rapid reuse milestones and new vehicle development. The company delivered an engineering mock-up of its lunar lander to NASA as part of ongoing Artemis work. CEO Dave Limp stated the team aims to fly again before year-end using a revised vertical rollout approach. The change removes the need for a new transporter erector system. Integration testing with the mock-up will inform final design adjustments. Keep an eye on follow-up observations of those 7 hot Jupiters as astronomers work to quantify their magnetic field strengths. That covers today's space and science news. Share this with a fellow space enthusiast if you found it interesting. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. See you tomorrow, and before you go, this show is part of the NERA Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give Environmental Intelligence a listen, the Environment and Climate Policy Brief for Canada. You can explore the whole lineup at neranetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.
Drifting softly